So howdy everyone, and welcome back to more from Troubleshooter. This is the past Black Shadow, giving the future one a hand. So, while I did say at the end of the last video that I wouldn't be recording anymore for a little while, I did realise that I was going to be doing a little bit of off-screen work in between, and if I waited until like 3 weeks later to remember what the hell I did, I would have no idea at all. So I'm going to record this quick little bit here and tack this on to the beginning of whatever we're doing. I did also slightly lie, saying I wasn't going to give my guys any more experience. I gave them a little bit, actually. I did one and a half missions worth of getting a whole bit of experience. So everyone's changed a little bit. Everyone's now at least level 25, which is pretty neat. Heising nearly finished with Sweeper, which is also well and good. I have gone through again and changed through some people's mastery boards. I'll quickly run through these, give you an idea of what's going on. I'll get to the equipment. There's been a lot of equipment changes too. Albus is still about the same. I am debating, like, reworking him, but I've not quite got round to it yet. We're basically just waiting on level 28 to pick up this defense symbol to get either Sword of Protection or Sword of Counterattack. Unsure yet. Also, I have been doing some missions on, like, challenge mode as well, so I've got hold of some funky, unusual masteries, like this one here, Alibaba. With chance of acquiring that increased by 200%, which is kind of neat. Get to Scion next. So Scion has had a bit of change. He still has like 9 active masteries, which is absurd, but I have now poured in a little bit of black mage stuff, which I think is overdue. Now, this is a big change to him. He's lost some of his HP. But what he has picked up is a ton of power. So I'll show you some of the stuff he's got now. So he's got a magical reactor, reduces the cooldown of his abilities by 1. Which means that I can use my lightning ball attack constantly, rather than having to switch between that and, say, the ripple flash. We've got Great Wizard, increasing his vigor by 150%, which is a lot. And we've got Magic Resonance here. So, damage done by magic attack increased by 10% per adversary possessing ESP power within a radius of 4 tiles. So, as you can see, we've got some improvements as well. So, we've got Magician's Path, which increases that to 8 tiles. And also, if I debuff someone using magic, I cause Magic Backflow, which will do damage equal to their vigor, maximum vigor at the start of every turn. And I've got Magical Accelerator. So, Magic Acceleration, we've obviously had on Silent for a little bit to power him up. Now, if we deal damage when accelerated, we get a time reduction of 10 units, which isn't bad, and also reduces my casting delay as well, which is pretty decently neat. So that is that. Sorcery is back on. We've also got this one here as well, Great Wizard Staff, reducing casting delay even further. But I don't know what this football is yet, but regardless, Sion's looking pretty decent. But I will note that his abilities here, yeah. He has over 1,000 ESP power now, but his HP has dropped a little bit, so that is something to be wary of. But yeah, 280 vigor, by the way. Oh my god. So next up is Irene. So she has also gotten a hold of a few levels, so there's been some changes here as well. This is her villain board, which has changed a little, not too much though. Put in clean hit, or martial arts man even, to get hold of the repetitive training. This is now on both of her boards, and it's pretty solid, you know, reducing damage, that sort of thing. What I'm trying to do with Irene is I'm trying to make her a bit more resilient. She's got a bit of extra health as well. But that's a problem I've been having with Irene off screen. A couple of times she just get like swamped or just like crit out of nowhere and just goes down in one. So I'm trying to make it a bit more resilient to damage. There are several sets that she is very close to getting, but I don't know how to get any of them, annoyingly. Iron Man gives 300 HP. I would need Solidity, which I don't have space. I'd have to drop that, which I'm never doing. We've got Airwalk as well, which is actually pretty neat. So if you dash or dash attack, and there's a significant elevation difference, you either get an AT reduction or you get acceleration. Also just giving more speed, which is definitely awesome. But again, I don't know what that is. Undefeated. Lightning Reflexes increases my SP by 5. And for Storm and Counterattack, I will further reduce my action time if I get kills out of it, which is pretty awesome. And Bodybuilder here. Bonuses of food. So this is like food sets is increased. But mainly, it's 100 HP, 100 armor, 100 resistance. This is body training, muscle armor, muscle tolerance. But I don't know what that is. which is a shame. Street Fighter also sitting here as well, if I want to put close combat on, but it's kind of expensive, and I don't really have the spots for that. Again, she could probably do with a few more mastery sets. It's not impossible I might just totally rip it all up, but she's now pretty resilient. If we go to her stats here, 700 armor, 500 resistance. This is better, I suppose. She's got a bit more health here as well, 1200, but not a ton. The thing that's worth noting, however, with Irene, is if we switch her around to her other board, the Beast board specifically, and look at her stats, you'll notice there's a significant change. And this board, she has nearly 2,000 health. This one, she's much more tankier. This is obviously designed... the base board is much more about being resilient and kind of tanking a lot of hits and just getting stuck in, whereas the villain board is a bit more hit and runny. That's the intention. She has a little bit less defense in this one, but the extra health compensates for that significantly. As far as the mastery board itself goes as well, she's got a lot of sets rocking and rolling now, which is pretty neat. Executioner, which is pretty sweet. Fist Fast on Life. If I can stun dudes, what I need to do is I need to get like clenched fist on or something like that. Would be pretty good for her. So that I can. Oh, it is part of the set, of course. So you push them back, and if you stun them, you know, 80 reduction. So lots of cool stuff here. All this lovely bits and pieces here. Revenge as well for counterattacks and such. Yeah, it's just about being much more resilient and just basically getting stuck in. Of course, no hero buff on this one. So next up is Anne. So I have tried to make Anne much more dedicated down the white magic route without trying to cost too much of the shaman stuff, but she's actually been pretty nicely here. She's now got 3 white magic things. The regeneration we've seen. We've got Light Redemption now on, so reduces the vigor and casting delay by half for all of her stuff, which is pretty useful. Keeps her a bit more mobile because her speed's not the best. But most importantly, we have Holy Shield, which basically acts like the defense cordon of the HPD defenders, reducing damage taken by 10% within 4 tiles, which is pretty decent. Now, combine this obviously with stuff like the other things we got going on as well, like Origin of Life, which recovers HP and vigor recovery, that sort of stuff. It's pretty decent. We've got Child of Light obviously going here as well. So Liveness is now 6 tiles, although Holy Shield still only applies to 4. Yeah, not only that, but also Holy Shield also makes people immune to mental debuffing as well now, which is pretty neat. Holy Shield, Origin of Life, Healing Wave, and Patience there as well. Community of Spirit is increasing her ASP by 10 per currently applied Human and Shaman Mastery, of which there's quite a few on her currently right now. Soul Guardian, we've seen plenty of, and Warmth of Life, we've also know as well. Kef, I haven't got Steady Cure on currently. This is basically if you heal, and then your next action, you heal immediately without moving, you would get the AT reduction, but I don't think it's that significant, so I'm not too worried about trying to chase for it. I think there are better sets for her. Cavaliering, I'd also like. Fully Healing reduces AT by 20 instead of 10, but we need First Aid, which is something that I've just not come across yet, which is really annoying. So once we do, I can do that, and also First Aid is required for some of Anne's stuff as well, but I haven't seen it yet. Now, Miracle Shield is an interesting one here. This requires all 4 white magery things, needing Miracle, something that I do have access to. Which you can see here. Healing, and there's 50% chances to get really big buffs on what you're doing. Well, I say big buffs, they're not that significant. But there's Miracle Shield here. So our activation of Miracle, allies in the range of Holy Shield's effect, so anyone that's within 4 tiles of Anne, gains regeneration and recovers 10 vigor. Now that seems pretty decent, but to be honest, we're already doing so much work with regeneration. I don't know how necessary that really is. It's nice though. There's a Celestial Shield as well, which requires something called Penance, which I haven't come across. When you take damage enemies attack, SP increases by 5, and Holy Shield is changed to a Celestial Shield, which reduces damage taken by 20%. Now that is pretty significant. And I would be very interested in looking to put that on down the line. But we don't have that right now. Maybe in the future. Now, Heising Alley has changed a lot. I've fairly heavily reworked him for the time being. And the way to explain that is if I go to his stats, he has over 2,000 health. Yeah. There's been some changes here. Let me explain. So, this wasn't quite intentional. It's kind of the way it ended up going down. Quite a few of his shooting abilities don't really pair with each other that easily. So we've got, I know already, which gives him basically buffs to Overwatching and stuff like that. But other than that, it's been really hard to pair his stuff together, so I've just kind of gone for a more generic-y sort of stuff here. Basic survival, combat training, fire resistance he's got on, which is awesome. Here's Iron Man, giving 300 health here. But what's interesting is that we have on him autoimmunity. I came across this kind of by accident here. This is body training, resilience, solidity, and indomitable yellows. Body training is part of 4 active sets. It's pretty sweet. And what this does is HP now increases by 8 per character level. 13 character levels instead of the 10 for body training. And also, if he gets physical and mental debuffs, their duration reduced by 50%, which is pretty sweet. And he also gains an extra 200 health. So what ended up happening with Heising is he's just become, like, he's absolutely buckets of health, and that kind of foreign resistance is going to make him really, really hard to kill. So we're going to change how we use him a bit. We're kind of leaving him back. But this is going to allow me to be a lot more aggressive. This combined with his Interlude Mastery. I put on Life's Bitter Road here. So he just reduces action time by 10 whenever he takes damage. So the idea is we want to now look to be a lot more aggressive with him rather than we had done previously. Now, there's another sort of Heising which also deserves a bit of quick explanation here, and that is this one down here. I want it more. So this is something I've kind of considered putting on, and I think I know what the other thing for this is as well. So, yeah, you've got some of the range stuff here. So he's got recoil control, which is much like it. So if he shoots, and then his next action just shoots again without moving, AT reduction by 10, which is totally decent. We also got Ruthless Shot here, using an ability. There's more on 2 targets within the range of it. Hit chance increases by 4% for every target, which is going to help it, again, being really heavily aggressive. That combined with Piercing Shot here, and I think this is combined with Excitement. Now, this is a very interesting ability for Heising, and one that I kind of want to use, but I don't know how much use I'm going to get out of it. It costs 2 here. So every time Heising recovers an action point, I get to trigger Excitement, which lasts for 2 turns, gives him plus 10 speed, 10% hit chance, 30% crit hit chance. It's a decent buff. The problem with this, though, is you have to manage to recover an action point, and that's kind of tricky for Heising to do, and you kind of have to, like, try and play into it if you're going to go down that route. I want more, by the way, would let recoil control reduce time by 20, and Ruthless Shot as well. If there's more than 2 targets in the range shooting ability, putting out of action to more than 2 targets decreases all ability cooldowns by 1, so basically that's the big, massive sweep. But yeah, the problem is getting hold of the time reductions. Now, there are ways for Heising to do that. He starts off with 1 shot, 1 kill, which is, you know, if you take someone out in 1 bullet from maximum health, you get an action point back, which is pretty neat. The problem is enemies are now getting pretty tanky, and it's really hard to do that. Heising, unfortunately, does not hit the hardest in the world. Even with his attack power, a lot of enemies at the moment are pretty resilient to gunfire, so it's getting difficult for him to achieve that. I'll talk about equipment in a moment. There are other things that you could do as well, actually. If I go to his individual mastery, I think it's not quite that one. There is something else that I could do for him as well. There are other bits and pieces dotted about which can be used in order to help him regain action points. But there aren't many, and it's kind of hard to do, which it kind of needs to be because obviously it'd be busted. Oh, of course, the actual sweeper mastery itself, mop up. So if you take out all enemies that are in his line of sight, and taken out by his attack, you get an action point back. So that helps in kind of, if you just send him to 1v1 someone and defeat them, and then send them into conflict, that could be pretty decent. But again, it's kind of difficult to achieve that a lot of the time. It needs a bit of luck, really. So, but you get the general idea of that. But all in all, Heising's definitely changed a lot and is a lot more resilient now, which should be good. Also, he's got nearly 1,000 armor. It's kind of nuts. So next up, a quick chat about equipment. And there has been a lot of changes that you might have seen from Heising as well. A lot of the unique equipment, pretty much all the unique equipment that some of our characters have had, have now been retired. They've done good, We're now at a point where the stuff we can make and find is just superior. I've actually spent some effort crafting some various bits of equipment as well. It tends to find the equipment that you craft tends to be of a better quality than the stuff you find in the street. Usually I'm finding like 3 or 4 stars. I think this Sentinel jacket that we've got here was one that we made. That was a 5-star. Pretty awesome. But yeah, so like these sneakers here, if I compare these to the black pearl sneakers here, it's just superior. I lose a tiny bit of hit chance, and the vigor's like not a big deal. I lose 5 speed, it's a shame. But other than that, the sneakers we've got now are they're just superior. Big increase to crit hit chance, big increase to armor, 7% dodge chance as well. So I'm just gonna retire these. I'm gonna keep holding them though. What are you gonna sell those? Are you crazy? Oh, there's another change as well. Like he's got this massive wrist guard here as well. Lots of good stuff here. Don't know what happened there. That was an interesting sound. Some other bits and pieces changed as well. So yeah, there's just changes around the place. They're gonna have some. Given the spin with this flash pen here, I can use it twice in combat. I don't know if he's actually gonna get much use of it. I might just give him a spoon for dodge chance. I'm not entirely sure, but we can use this to debuff people and blind them in a pinch. It's so interesting for him as well. His dodge chance isn't actually that great, but again, Scion is now kind of what he should be. Like, he's been running a ton of health for ages because of all the mastery sets, but he is now just nuke it in chief, which is kind of what he's meant to be. Irene's equipment isn't going to change much because I've got freaking 2 legendary bits and pieces, which is pretty awesome. But Anne's got some changes, though, as far as her equipment is concerned. So, what I ended up doing is I went and did a lot of the side missions, stuff that we haven't done before, and in one of them we came across Hassan, who is the Firemancer for the Spoonits. Well, as it turned out, as I defeated him in that mission, I actually got hold of his bangle here, the Hassan Bangle of Storm Supreme, and we're gonna be putting this on here. One thing has been really, well, it's like I would do. But is it actually that good for Anne here? I'm actually not so sure. Plus 10 vigor. It gives loads of hit chance and crit hit chance and that stuff. And obviously the fire attack damage is good. But the problem is that, well, hit chances are relevant to Anne if I've got her only healing. The crit chance can play a factor, but it's not a massive deal, and the crit damage isn't really that good. So it's like, it's nice. But is it actually that useful compared? There's some good stuff here, you know. Fire attack damage for 10% is awesome, but this would be if I'm sending Irene down a much more magic basis, which I'm just not really doing. And if I compare this, say, to back to Scion, for example, who has this here, it's just not worth it because I'm just sacrificing SP power because unfortunately it's only level 10. The better hit chance would be nice, but yeah, so we got this. This is probably just going to be kept to the side. But it's not a bad bangle, by any stretch of imagination. Anything else to note here, equipment-wise? But there's one person that needs talking about. And that's Heising. Heising has lost all of his unique stuff. I've taken it all off here. Again, it's just a case of the stuff that we've got now is just simply superior. Which is a shame. So yeah, he's running these Drake B200s, which look very, very different. Look like freaking vectors. But yeah, if compared to, like, say, this Fatal Snow here, I mean, it's just superior in every way. What can you do? What can you do? Also picked up this Drake C here, which is level 30, which is also pretty decent, and I might actually end up putting this on here. Lose a bit of hit chance and crit chance, but extra sight, move distance, and speed wouldn't be too bad here. I have done my best to improve Heising's speed as well. It was pretty slow. But he is being assisted by all of the Indo equipment down here, which is all giving him extra stuff here. Plus 3 speed. Plus 14 speed on those shoes there. This also giving plus 10, so he's improved much more significantly there. But yeah, just his equipment in general has just seen big upgrades. I'll show all the comparisons here. So here it is, this to the spider coat. I lose a little bit of resistance, a little bit of blunt resistance, but other than that, it's just superior. Plus nearly 10% block and dodge chance. You know, and again, like, these are giving him speed, and I do value speed quite highly. I think it's a pretty important stat and easy to overlook, so I've done my best to improve that for him. The Abyss Guardian. This is all stuff, half of this I made, I'm pretty sure. So here's the guard again. And again, this is just giving him just extra armor and stuff. This one was closer. This gives +7 block. And I might actually go back to this. It's very possible I might do so. I'm unsure if I want to stick with what I've got here. I might reserve the right to go back to leather guard or put on something else if we find it. But that one's close. The shoes weren't though. These are awesome. Again, comparing to these, a little bit of resistance block and that, but other than that, it's increasing his hit chance by like 10%. His crit chance by 9%. 14 speed. I mean, these are pretty awesome. So that's what we're going to rock and roll with there. Pretty good. All right then. So that's that. Quest-wise, I have just cashed in all the quests that were outstanding that I completed with the various bits and pieces. If I ever get the right tab, so that's fine. You didn't see any of it. It was pretty standard stuff. We do have a quest to do for Roberto, though, which I don't know what that's going to be. We'll talk about that in a second. But if I go quickly to the criminal case list here, I basically just went through all the ones up here that were new, and gone through all the ones here that were that had requests with them, apart from this one, which I said I wouldn't do because it's separate. And of course, these are violent cases, which I'm not going to deprive that of you. But well, I just did all this back, which is good. Also doing some work as well, just trying to shore up things back in. That was interesting. If I go to the activity report here, I've gone and done missions back here in Silvercloud to get this back up, but you'll also notice that we are no longer in charge of Pugo Street. I gave it the jurisdiction, and I gave it up because I wanted to go to Magenta Street. We've spent here plenty of time, but you'll notice big chunk of change here, and that's what I end up getting sworn by, is going for the cash. Yeah, level 10 reputation, I'm getting nearly 4 grand every 5 missions for that. That is very juicy. It was expensive. Cost me 7 grand to set this up, and as a record, I am absolutely broke right now. It's pretty brutal. So I get an explanation of how this whole mechanic works, because the game doesn't really properly explain it. You kind of got to suss it out, but I think I've largely got it down. So the way this basically works with your jurisdictions is there are 2 different types of groups of properties to each of these. You've got the district they're in, and you've got the type of thing that they are. So these are all residences, these are all businesses, that sort of thing. And depending on where they are and what type of place they are will give you a specific benefit. So for example, Silver Cloud here. Because it's a residence, I get extra rewards and friendship levels of NPC increases whenever that all happens. Because it's a residence, when I complete a mission, I get extra reputation, the place I'm working in. But over here, Magenta Street, because it's in the Wall District, I instead get information bonuses earned by troublemakers. And because it's a business, I get the reduced price. Now, these can be stacked. So, for example, you see in Wall District, there are 3 of them. So, if you were to do multiple jurisdictions in Wall District, well, this benefit would just simply increase. And likewise, if I was to focus my jurisdictions on the business areas here, well then, the price that I reduce and gradually just reduces again and again at 8% per. Very, very useful. And basically, you can use that to kind of customize what you're going on. Different areas, of course, have different money they're going to give you. Also, they all have their own little support policies as well. So Magenta Street, for example, could give me extra items whenever I do missions in a Wall District, which I don't know how often that's going to be, but probably more often than I realize. So I might end up putting that on still. Merchant Union, when I do a World District mission, all businesses, districts increased by 10. Again, this isn't a big deal because we've only got 2 jurisdictions at the moment, and I really want to get that improved, but I can't currently. So having high, whatever you want to call it, everywhere isn't really doing anything, because if you don't have to place on a jurisdiction, it don't count for anything. But I have currently got information dealing in here. So whenever you complete a Wall District mission, you earn 25 missing information for a random troublemaker that is already known, which is going back to the, that's resolving with the troublemaker list here. And of course, as you get hold of more information for these things, you learn more about them, you start getting improvements. So for example, we take this Spooners Gorilla. Because we've now fought them enough, we've got 100% information, which means that we get to know where they are on maps, and we do extra damage, that sort of thing. You get the idea. Now, as mentioned, I would like to get more jurisdictions, but again, I don't really know how that's done. We've only got 2 because of Silver Cloud just is up where we are, and Albus is an official troubleshooter, but no one else we have is an official troubleshooter, so I don't know if there's a chance that would change or not. Maybe some of the character recruit later on are actually considered official troubleshooters. Also, there's ranks in this game. I don't know if like I get high enough that gives me an extra jurisdiction. I simply have no idea, but it is what it is. But yeah, Magenta Street for now we're going to run with. Some of these areas I simply can't do. So like some of them I could definitely do. Like this one here I could do Iron Forest outside, which you can do like inspection. All district reputation increased by 5, which actually isn't that bad, but I'm not really interested in the money. You can see here, evaluating troubleshooting actions, reduced reputation is decreased. So this is when you get the report, you reduce reduction of reputation for everywhere you haven't done something, but it's not a big deal. Special areas will give you training manuals, 50 training manuals each time, which is nice, but we've got absolute buckets of those. Only thing of this interesting note is you've got industries. Industries will give you rare equipment rank or higher, which every time this happens, which is kind of neat. You can sell it for some money. But the Northern District's pretty good, because the Northern District just simply gives you more money. Your jurisdiction fund increases by X%, which is pretty decent. The other one we haven't looked at is the Central District, which due emissions, motivation consumption decreases, which, I'm going to be honest, is not that important. It's not a big deal at all. But yeah, most of these I can apply for. Like, if I was to reduce magenta, like, I can do this. I think this one, Crow Street, I could, you know, like, if you've got the money, like, I can cover most of these places now, because most of them, I've done 45 missions, which is typically enough. I think some of them, like, need 50. Yeah, that one needs 50, for example. Some of them also, of course, getting the reputation high enough is difficult. Here, Ashen River. It's going to be tough because I can't actually do any missions here, so I'd have to do it, like, from the side and stuff like that. But, yeah, you could cover a lot of these, which would be pretty neat. But these ones here are tough. Yes, this one's 50. Angry Barrel is actually going to be 30, so I could do that one as well. And again, there might be some support policies that are of interest to you, but I'll be honest, I think you're more interested in, like, getting this stuff. But yeah, I think North District would be a good shout. Alright, so that is that. Is there anything else I want to cover in this little interlude here? Not particularly. So I've done tons of crafting. Just take my word for it. So I've been making loads of stuff. Let's go have a chat with Roberto. He has a quest for us. I'm curious to know what it is. Uh-oh. Yeah. Yeah, what does it matter? Your point. Nonsense! You realize you were struggling to solve a case that is beyond your ability. Do I know where this is going? I feel like I know where this is going. Jojo who is incapable of quitting problems is nothing but a troublemaker. Damn. Yeah. She's been awesome. Yeah. Going one-on-one with the Undertaker. No. So here we go. We're gonna... It's Irene versus Roberto, apparently. He's challenging us. A hero doesn't run from a challenge. Absolutely fucking agreed. The person has a chase after the messes she created. I think I have a right to say a few words to her. This will be quick. You're going down, buddy. Well, I didn't think this was going to happen, everyone, but here we go. Why are we here again? Ron and Irene are going for a fight again. Here, Irene. It's some bad blood, apparently. They just stopped this ages ago. Here we go. Maximilian's like, time to wager, buddy. My bet is on Irene. Roberto has been avoiding dangerous cases lately. You know what? I'd say the money's on Irene here. I'd take your bet on Roberto. I placed my bet on Irene. I have no interest in losing. Oof. We can't bet on the same side. Everyone thinks Irene's gonna win this. Ever since the team-up operation, Roberto has become less and less competent. Damn. Damn. What he did for her? No. I should be fine. There's no better skill test. There won't be any problems. I'm counting on you. Isaac's just like, I expect victory. Here we go then. So it's a second 1v1 against Roberto. Now this is going to be interesting here. So bear in mind that Irene is running her. She's on a hero build here. Now surely, as we're the only person on our team, like heroes should just be active all the time. Delicious. Let's dance, boy. Oh dear.
Justice win.
What do you mean I only got a good rank for that? What? Oh dear. Oh goodness. I mean, to be fair, like Irene had like nearly 10 levels on the guy. But A, he presented the challenge, and B, that's only come up fairly recently. So, yeah. It was, not go well for Roberto. Oh, dear. Where the hell are you going? Get up there. You know what? Fuck it was. Are you sure? It looked like he got beat the fuck down. Sacrificed many officers in last year's team and mop-up operation. Oh boy. Yeah, he realizes he's no good. Yeah. I don't rush to take violent cases. After that incident. When I take a violent case, I'm depriving another troubleshooter of the chance. Trouble who can deal with the case much better than I can. Aww. Roberto's not a bad guy. Take good care of this town. Albus, and everyone else at Beer Sink. Thank you for making this troublemaker into a proper person. Don't you understand the feels? You want me to mention the number of misdemeanors you've committed? There's a few. It's fine, man. Oh? No? Cheers, man. Give me, criminal information, I guess. The master has been surpassed by his student. That's who I am. Well, there we go. That was a fun. We laid the smack down upon Roberto. That's where it goes. Right then, I think that's about it, really. I think the only thing I'll mention as well, I did do some hunting, and I admit that I looked it up as well. If you want to see what all of the bar mill set stuff are, I can explain this mechanic as well. It's actually quite simple. First of all, here's all 12 mill sets. 5 can be done here. 7 must be done over at Silver Lining. So basically this actually is a lot more simpler than it looks. Basically there's 4 sets of buffs and there's 3 tiers of them. So if we go for like this one here, for example, fast and easy, only needs 50% Seishi and gives you armor and resistance by 2 per character. Level and 3% block. Simple. But if you go for the one higher up, which needs 60%, it's 3 armor resistance per level and 6% block. And then the next high up is 4 armor resistance and 9% block, but obviously it needs more and more. And that's the same for all of these. So this one is armor. Basically, this one is defensive. You've got this tier, which is a vigor recovery and hit chance. This one here is crit hit chance and acquisition of stuff. And the bottom one, which I think is the best one, is speed and move distance. All of them last for 9 turns. Now, unfortunately, you'll notice a few of these have alcohol. So obviously, like this one, these ones here, Anne can never have any of these. She can never have this set because it's all alcohol and she can't serve it. So she can't do these 3 and she can't do those 2, but she can still get this one here, which is sparkling water and fresh juice. And again, 9 turns of plus 10 speed and plus 1 move distance. That's pretty damn good. But obviously you need satiate, which is food. And obviously if you go for this, for example, well, you're not getting that. It's all just refreshment. If this maxes out, then you get debuffs instead. So, but that's how that works. Yeah, that's how that shit works. In case you're interested. Because, you know, well, there's enough mechanics in this game already, right? Okay then, I think with that, I think that's pretty much everything. I think we are donesies here. I am broke, by the way. I have 290 VIL to my name. It's not great. But yeah, that's pretty much everything for this one here. So this will be its own little interlude video. And at this point, I will leave it to future Black Shadow to do the rest of the work. So when we return, or when I return, whenever the hell I return, we are going to be doing probably the Crescent Bridge first. There is the animal shelter, but I'm going to want to crack into some story missions, I imagine, and get Chapter 4 underway and see what fun awaits us. The Shadow Fog Slum, I'm also want to do, and this might well be what we do next. It might well be Crescent Bridge, Animal Shelter, Shadow Fog Slum. Is how I assume it's going to go, but I don't honestly 100% know. We shall see. Thanks for watching, everyone. It's been a pleasure. I'm going to kind of miss Troubleshooter for a little bit, but there's other things to be cracking on with, I suppose. And yeah, I'm like 20 videos ahead of the series. I need shit to catch up. Thanks, everyone. Take care. See you soon.